Banning abortions doesn't stop abortions. It just stops safe abortions.
The United States of America is a worse place for women now than it was half a century ago. The reason that the Supreme Court was able to overturn Roe v. Wade was because there isn't an unambiguous federal statute guaranteeing all women access to the reproductive health services that they need and deserve. But in many ways, it was a multi-decade process of political activism that led to the overturn. I think it's going to take the same kind of sustained effort to reverse it.
This essentially commits America to a path of restricting the rights of half of its population. Justice Thomas's concerns that he raised in his brief about LGBTQ rights and the right to marriage, that was very concerning to me as well. It's hard for us to make a case to other countries around the world that the United States is a place that cares about liberty and justice for all, and when we're willing to restrict so much when it comes to the rights of women in this country and the rights of minorities.
When I think about Roe v. Wade and the anniversary, I can't help but think about my mother, who passed away at almost 95 about a year ago. So she spent, a large part of her adult life without reproductive autonomy guaranteed as a right. And it was a very, very important cause to her. She spent a lot of time in her late 60s and early 70s, I think, doing clinic defense, escorting people who needed services past the people who were trying to disrupt them. And she had a real deep understanding that, no right is really guaranteed or protected forever, and you have to kind of fight for them continually.
When I first learned that Roe versus Wade was overturned, I felt a lot of sadness, but then that sadness turned into rage. And I also remembered that Roe versus Wade was a hard-fought battle. And while it's unfortunate that we have to take this fight up again, if that's what needs to be done, we will do it. Because we won't stop until reproductive rights have been secured for all.
I think the only thing that we can do is come together and, frankly, fight. I think it needs to be written into our laws. And I have no illusions as to how easy that would be, but I think it's the only solution, really, that will assure people's rights for the long term.
As a second-generation U.S. citizen, I'm a strong supporter of women's rights. Criminalizing abortion is inhumane and inherently counterproductive to human rights. My body, my choice.
Many thought that Roe v. Wade was decided too early, before we had the necessary consensus in the states. We now have to build that consensus, and we have to build it on the basis of equal protection rather than the right to privacy. We want people to be able to choose and to support their families and to have the kind of infrastructure necessary to support their family life.